Welcome to another edition of California Triathlon Soup. Today we have Sam Long, the big unit. Yo, yo, yo.
Yo, 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 it's so great to be on here. So my first question is, you told me it's California Tri Club, but you're in Virginia. So you're clearly not just in California.
I like it. We're in 22 seconds and you turn that interview. I love it. That's good. No, that's true. We're a national organization, nonprofit. I'm based in Lexington, Virginia, but our volunteer coordinator is in Wisconsin, and we have folks all over the country.
Yeah, and events all over the country too, from the sounds of it.
It is. And one of the things that we were really looking forward to this California version of California Triathlon Soup. And one of the things that we wanted to do is you have a catchphrase. You want to talk about your catchphrase? Where did that come from?
Yeah, so the catchphrase is yo, 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 if people don't know it. But to be honest, I don't really know where it came from. And that's kind of sort of been the whole thing of my career is like nothing that ever sticks. I like sat down and said, oh, I'm going to come up with this as like a marketing idea. It's just like I said yo, yo, yo in high school and I didn't even know I said it. And next thing I knew, people were like, keep saying it. We love it. And then it sort of just turned into saying yo, yo, yo.
So every time, so that everybody knows, we support youth racing. So every time Sam says yo 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 on this call, we're gonna donate $100 to youth racing. So yeah, Sam, the future of our nonprofit's in your hands. We'll put it that way.
Exactly, and I only need to know 3 words, and those 3 words are yo yo yo. Actually, that's only 1 word.
So a couple different things to start off with. You're Canadian.
No, I'm actually not Canadian. Sorry, I know.
Not Canadian.
I confused you in the intro. I'm born and raised in the U.S., but I have a Canadian girlfriend, and so I'm a proud Canadian in a way as well, I guess.
Does she make you put the flag up in the house? Is that how that works?
Yeah. If I don't. Oh wait, the flag's that way. If I don't keep the flag up, then we're broken up.
Sam, I thought that flag was last year you guys had a Mount Lemmon. I thought that was a gift you got from a fellow Canadian. Do you give that back to Lionel when he breaks your record on Mount Lemmon? I mean, how's that going to work?
Yeah, I mean, it probably should go back to a Canadian. If you want to know the true story of how I got this, I had it actually before I met my girlfriend. Me and my family, we used to go boating up near Vancouver in the summers when I was young, and our boat had this big Canadian flag, the one in my room, and I was like 10 years old, and I thought it was awesome, so I actually took it. I just took the flag off the boat and brought it home. It's been in my room ever since. And I
don't know. If you head up there, maybe they're looking out for you. We may need a picture like this and one like that at the post office. They're going to be looking for you.
Yeah, I know. So maybe that's why Lionel's got so much beef with me and is trying to get the flag back.
Well, let's talk about Mount Lemmon. That is, if anybody who has been to Arizona, that part, when you do it in about 1 hour and 14 minutes and change. When us mortals do it, it's a lot longer than that. So tell me about the training. Tell me about your training for that. Why did you do it? Why do you like it? Why is it a good test? Even go into the wattage if you'd like to. Tell me about your training for that.
Yeah, totally. I mean, first off, yeah, anyone who's ever been there know sort of the appeal of Mount Lemmon. And it's basically because more or less you're in a flat desert land otherwise, right? Cactuses, flat, hot, bumpy roads. And then Mount Lemmon and all of Tucson, it's like basically the only climb that's pretty sustained, and it's beautiful and it's got great road surface. So it's like everyone who climbs goes to Mount Lemmon. And so you're always seeing people. And so it's just kind of, it's this iconic climb in a way because it's really the only climb, especially from like Boulder, Colorado. Here, we don't have like the climb because there's like 45 of them within 10 minutes. And so I would always just do my training up it. And last year with COVID, all the races got canceled, and I was going to do Oceanside, and then I was going to do St. George, and it got canceled right around that time. So I kind of had all this pent up frustration and anger, and like just needed an outlet. And so Mount Lemmon was that outlet. And to be honest, there wasn't really specific training for it. I was training for a half Ironman and a full Ironman, and then I just did like 2 weeks of training for the Mount Lemmon. So it was actually a lot of like long Ironman rides that led into it. And then yeah, the wattage up it. When I made 2 attempts. My first attempt I didn't get it. I was short by like 30 seconds, 20 seconds, and I did like 402 watts. And then when I did get it, I did 407 watts.
Mm. Now, when you're going up that hill, there was a guy, a pro here in Virginia who did an Everest sub-7.
Oh, totally.
Sub-7
Yeah.
Everest. And it's a few minutes away from here. And I think mom and dad were supplying SAG support at the top of a hill. And he was going up this 15.5% grade. And the speeds on the way down were like 60. He's in the 61-mile club. And so when you go up and you're doing that kind of sustained effort for 74, 75 minutes, that wattage, you're also going up and you're starting to deal with the elevation. And were you stripping stuff off of your bike, and how did you do that? Or you didn't care, you just go?
Oh, absolutely. There's nothing on the bike. Bottle cages off, no water, no phone, nothing even for music, because every weight, every gram matters. Especially for me, I'm a big guy. I'm not the guy you would think. I'm the yo big unit.
Oh, he's killing us again.
I'm killing you again. I'm not the guy who should be getting hill climbs, so I gotta, I have to make sure I get my bike as lean and light as possible, and then and then it just suffers. The altitude, it's a variable. Thankfully for me, coming from Colorado, I do pretty well at altitude, but still you can definitely notice like the effort gets harder as you go up. One, because you're getting tired, but two, because there's less oxygen. So it definitely adds up.
Did your experience on that last climb, did less oxygen, but did it get a little cooler at least?
So it does get a little cooler, exactly. So it probably, your heart rate stays, I would say, about the same because it gets cooler. So yeah, because it actually gets significantly cooler. So the day I did it, when I actually got it, like I lined up the winds to put me best, and actually hotter is actually better to an extent because the rolling resistance goes down, and because then you want it to be really hot at the bottom, because then by the top it's only like in the 60s, right? And you don't want it to be in the 50s, because then that actually is significantly slower. So it was like 90 something when I started down at the bottom. So it was hot.
And I think that climb is what, about 5,000, the 5,000 feet of elevation?
Yeah, just over 5,000, because I think you start at like 24 and end at 8 or something. Yeah, so just over 5,000.
And you just know that's a 75-minute, put it on the peg on the red line, and it hurts.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's actually worse at first, because worse at first and then worse at the end, because that hard of an effort, when you first start doing it, like it's mental, and it's like, there's no way I can do this the whole time. There's no way I can do this the whole time. But you just take it like really like 2 minutes at a time for the entire 75 minutes. Wanting to quit every single 2 minutes, but you just like keep going and keep taking it 2 minutes at a time.
Well, Everesting was a big thing this year. I think across the board, people need to train by themselves, getting that work in. And it was interesting to see what grade somebody would pick. Like I said, the guy that I mentioned here was 15.5%. Do you do it at 20% and make less ascent climbs, but you get a new pair of knees, or, like, it's interesting the strategies that people use for Everesting. And then what I sort of, a little piece of me enjoyed was, I guess a month ago, they re-estimated Everest, and it was a little bit taller than. Yep. So I'm not sure if all those records are just gone now. I'm kidding.
Totally.
Would that be rough?
That would be rough. Yeah, so I actually did an Everesting. I did it not too long after the Mount Lemmon KOM, about I guess it was about 6 weeks later. But I wasn't going for like a speed record or anything. I just kind of wanted to do the challenge. Yeah, it was a pretty hard day on a bike, that's for sure.
How many hours with you not taking it seriously? Did it take? Just make everybody who's listening puke.
I did it in like 10 and a half with stops.
Okay, that's
So yeah,
amazing.
it not really blazing fast, to be honest. That's still a decent time. Back then it was a decent time. Now it's like people are going in like the low sixes, aren't they? Before that, I think only like 3 people had gone under 9 or
I
something.
think I think I've seen 7 just get broken. A couple
Okay.
months I saw 7. And so it'll be interesting where that goes. Now, one recent activity you were part of that I think had 0 elevation on the bike, although maybe I'm wrong, is Daytona.
Yep. I mean, I think it actually, you still got a few, at least my Garmin read something like 100 feet of elevation gain over 50 miles, which is pretty much zero. But um, yeah, but you still got a little, I guess you could say, over 50 miles, not quite zero.
You look like you were having a lot of fun there. That was something nice to watch. Why don't you talk about your preparation, that experience of going to Daytona, and is that probably the biggest field you've ever raced against?
Yeah, that was definitely the biggest field I've ever raced against. So honestly, going into that race, I kind of had a lot of like self-doubt and sort of self-belief issues, I guess you could say. I guess you could say because of the quality of the field, but I also talked myself out of it a bit because of the longer swim and then the shorter bike and the shorter run. And I was like, my strength is Ironman, and my strength is going better as the distances get longer, not as they get shorter. So I sort of did a bit of self-sabotaging with that, and almost didn't even want to go. Um, and I set up to do Ironman Florida 4 weeks before, partly because of this lack of self-belief, and also it was the only Ironman of the year, so I wanted to race an Ironman. And then, yeah, like after Ironman Florida, I had a good race. I was third there, youngest American under 8 hours as well, so that was a cool achievement. But then I kind of went into like a 4 day like slump and depression after that race, and I was like, I'm just gonna end my season. I don't want to race. I've got no chance at Daytona. And I just like lied in bed for like, yeah, 2 days, 3 days, whatever.
I
Like,
think
oh,
they,
see, I,
Sam, I don't mean to interrupt, but I think they just call that recovery.
no, 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 no. This is not recovery. This was like after the race, I had to rest as well. And then once I was supposed to start training, like I trained for 2 days, and then I was also going to do 70.3 Texas, but that got canceled. So when that got canceled, I was like, oh, my season's done because I have no chance at Daytona. Um, but then I realized like, oh, with this COVID, with this freaking COVID nightmare and everything, I was like, off season's no fun at all. You can't do anything with off season. So I was like, I might as well go and do the race. And so what if I get my ass kicked? I'm gonna just give it my go. So it actually, anyways, I'm just saying all this because it all basically opened me up for the race. And then when I went to the race, like I didn't have really any expectations of like, oh, I need to get this place or I need to do this well. Like I was just there, like enjoying the moment and enjoying the race. And that's why you see those scenes of me with the crowd. And then there was a crowd. Like I was just loving racing and taking in every minute. And then I ended up doing what I thought was quite well for myself.
When you ran around the fourth each of the 4 times, what I can't remember what you said. There was something you said sometimes when you ran. What was that?
It would have been yo yo yo.
I think that was on your first time, but what about the second? I just anyway, I don't remember what it was.
Me either. That's the only thing I think I would have been saying. Well, by the fourth lap, I was like in delirium and basically dying, so I don't think I was saying anything. But
I have to say, the thought is that you hear the name Sam Long and you're like, oh yeah, he's a little controversial, and this sport's right.
yeah, I mean, yeah, I think that's what people sort of are coming to know me, yeah, I've had to become okay with that, and I just hope that I can inspire people and make the sport a whole lot more fun at the end of the day.
I want to turn you on to if you haven't watched it. Have you ever? I think it was on Netflix. You ever watch Glow?
I haven't, no.
So it's a series, I think 3 seasons about women's wrestling, and it's done. It's really well done. Got a lot of awards, and you have these characters back in the day, like in the 80s and 90s, and back in the 80s, have somebody who's like this Russian person, and you have this person, and they have all these characters, and the thing that made it successful is these brash characters that nobody believed. I don't think too many people believed that the wrestling was real, but it was storytelling. It was kind of fun. And to see athletes who are, kind of generic and tapioca and like super exciting, like it's nice to see a little bit of spunk.
Totally. Well, here's the thing. It's all about the story, and it's all about storytelling, and it's all about getting people excited. And one of the best examples I can think of that in modern times, to go on that Glow example, is the Queen's Gambit, right? How many people care about chess these days? Like, not very many people that I know, but yet like everyone I know has watched that series and thought it was quite good, and that's because the storytelling was great.
See, California Triathlon Soup is successful, sort of. There's like 8 people watching, but it's semi-successful because it's 2 parts triathlon, one part non-triathlon, and 1 part silly. So you get a Glow reference, you get a Queen's Gambit. Yeah, I mean we're starting to check the boxes here.
Starting to check the boxes, and we'll check that with one more yo while we're at it.
Oh, you're killing us. You're killing us. Good for you. So you're 24, and you have just a tremendous amount of talent. When you showed up at Daytona, and obviously there's other races where you've raced some really amazing folks, and you see gold and silver medalists in the Brownlees and all these other folks rolling around, and I assume they didn't bring the medals with them. Did they wear those in transition or anything?
I mean, maybe Alistair, he had it. He tried to race with all his gold medals, and maybe that's why he didn't finish, because it was too much weight to carry.
um, did this? I mean, it has to be intimidating, right? Or do you follow? Let me ask you a question. Do you follow these guys, or and if I was to say, the big 4, to talk about the big 4? Would you know who they were? Have you followed them? Do you care? Are you just out racing? What do you think? You're a young pro.
Yeah. So I follow everyone, and these guys have kind of been my idols for the longest time. And I don't know if I would say there were just a big 4 guys there. I could probably guess, if we had to, the exact 4, but there were like 20 guys there that I've looked up to forever, and that I've idolized, and that it's been like, you're never going to possibly beat these guys. You know what I mean? And so that's kind of why I talked myself out of that race going into that. But then when I went to the race week, I was like, you're just going to do you. Like, they're just people. Like, it's great that you look up to them and think they're awesome, but like on race day, you can't think they're 100 times better than you. You have to know that they're on an equal playing field.
Do you get in a race and like your mental state, and it's actually nice to hear athletes say, I wasn't sure, I talked myself out of it, because honestly, there's so much negative self-talk, and do pros do that too? And of course they do.
Yeah, of course. And that's the thing. I think I talked myself out of it, and I said, if you're going to talk yourself out of it, don't even bother going. And then I said, well, I want to go. So I said, talk yourself into it, even if you're lying to yourself. So then when I showed up on the start line, I was talked into it, But I will say, one other cool story is, at the race, we were checking our shoes off, and Vincent Louis was dropping his shoes off at the same time, right? And such a cool guy. He actually comes up to me and he goes, "Hey, I'm Vincent Louis. You're Sam." Like, he's like, "You're Sam, right? I've wanted to meet you." And I was like, "What the hell? No, you haven't wanted to meet me. I've been wanting to meet you, my dude." Like, so yeah, triathlon's full of just stellar guys.
Well, when you're in a race, is there ever a point like do you distract yourself? Like, are you thinking about something? Like, what I'm saying is, every long course race I think I've ever been in, at some point I think about, like, especially if I see my my wife or my daughter there, I lose my focus, and then I'm just like, it takes like a minute or so. Like, I've got to like, okay, no, I've got to get back focused because I think about them. And I'm like, man, I'd like to go spend time with them, but I'm in the middle of a race. And do you ever think about stuff like that? Do you ever think about, parents? Do you ever think about like, what do you think about that just takes you off someplace when or maybe nothing, maybe just you go blank slate?
Yeah, I think that's something I'm actually pretty good at. Like I don't think about anything when I'm having a good race, just the race itself. But yes, that's what I love about racing. It's just this like intense focus and a quiet mind, and the only thoughts are really like, oh, do I need a gel, or do I need a goo, or oh, should I modify the pacing, or what's the strategy, to get the leg up on this guy, and stuff like that. And the times I've had bad races, I mean, I can tell you that one of the Ironmans I DNF'd was Ironman KOM, I think 2017. And on the run, I just started thinking about how it was basically Thanksgiving, and I just wanted to drink a margarita with my family, and I dropped out like a mile later and went and had a margarita, and then felt terrible for doing it. I was like, I should have finished.
Oh, that's funny. If I'm not mistaken, that's like a November race, right?
Yeah, it's literally like it was the Sunday after Thanksgiving, and so my whole family went out all week, and it was like I was pretty good all week. Like, oh no, I'm not partying. I'm staying focused on the race, and then like in the race, the tipping point just happened. Everyone's cheering you on the run. I was having a bad race, and like, yeah, everyone's just cheering you on, drinking margaritas, having a party, and I was like, I'm done with this. I want to be part of the party, not like the suffering.
So I guess like I only have a couple more things in terms of some new things, which the PTO, that's pretty new, last couple years, and they put a lot of money into Daytona with 1.15 million.
Yeah, it was a lot of money, and yeah, really, they only came around basically a year ago, like last November. But last year was like their first year as an actual organization. So what they
And you
accomplished in a year, especially given COVID, is absolutely incredible.
and you finished great finish, by the way. You finished, and was it ninth?
That was ninth. Yeah, it ended up being ninth.
And not to talk about cash, because that's that's not nice. But what does ninth place get you? What did that get you at Challenge Daytona? Because it was a nice check.
Well, if we're talking about cash, I got to throw a quick yo 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 in there.
Love it. I love it.
Um, yeah, it got me $18,000, which is incredible.
Is eight now
Um,
and so at $18,000, what do you have to do in an Ironman? What have you had to do in the last 4 or 5 years at an Ironman to get $18,000?
well, prize money wise, it would be very, very difficult. Ironman Florida, if you won, you would have gotten $15,000 prize money. But and so here's the thing that I think is difficult for the PTO, and that's a big barrier for them to get over. Is at least my contracts, and I know I've talked with a lot of other pros, is we've got race bonuses, and so my race bonuses actually are more significant than the prize money at most races. Um, but for example, like at Cozumel for the win, I made $3,500, but I made, let's say, about 10K in bonuses, right? So that's around 13K.
And for those that don't know, and maybe I don't, those are from sponsors.
Those are from sponsors, yeah. So in my big three are Envy, Wadi, and Argon 18, as well as a host of other ones. But the thing is, because PTO is just created and they partnered with Challenge, which especially in North America has not been a big powerhouse brand. Like no bonuses are written for PTO races, um, and so it's sort of then like the PTOs having to fund the bonuses of the sponsors in some ways as well. I don't know why I'm telling you all this, but I just think we're seeing a shift, and I think it's going to take a few years for it to be like, oh, the PTO is seen as equally as legit as Ironman, and then we're incentivized to go and do those races by our sponsors as well as by the prize purse. And for a ninth place finish, I wouldn't get anything anyways, even if it was an Ironman. But anyways, that's just some food for thought.
Yeah, well, Ironman's business is based on mass participation, and it appears as though the good folks from Challenge and part of this effort is to try to get some eyeballs through
Yep.
watching on TV, and if they can figure out a way to do that, then it's one of those things where you have an NFL game. Would you rather have the folks sitting in the seats or the folks watching on TV? And
Right.
and it's as a COVID year last year, it seems like they want the people watching on TV.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, exactly. It's more reliable, that's for sure.
Well, that was it. Now you gave us one last thing before we wrap. Next year, your calendar, what's that look like?
Well, I guess this is the exclusive first look at my calendar. I haven't told anybody yet, so
we got a drum roll. Well, you don't have to.
Yeah.
Secret stuff. You got to start with
yo. But like you said, only 2 people are watching, so I'm not telling that many people.
Nope.
No. I don't mind saying that. I'm gonna have a pretty long preparatory period here, so working on my swim. Yeah, I've got another goal there that starts with mountain and involves lemons in the spring. If you follow what I'm putting down, and
yes.
then my first and so that's actually sort of taking the place of a race because that's going to require some focus and discipline and blah blah blah. And then May is going to be off the charts crazy. I'm going to do St. George, 70.3 North American Champs May 1st, and then I want to go and do Ironman Mallorca May 15th, and then I want to do the Challenge Championships, the Collins Cup on May 22nd. So 3 races in May, and then June, take a little break, end of June race, hopefully going up to Canada if they allow races for Mont Tremblant 70.3, then 70.3 Boulder in August, and then 70.3 Worlds in Kona. And then, yeah, probably going back to Cozumel to get my redemption, my margarita redemption for the full Ironman. I actually won the half Ironman there this year, so I've already sort of got my redemption. And then hopefully ending the year with Daytona. So a pretty full race schedule.
That is a aggressive race schedule. Well, you have been a fantastic guest, and like I said, we followed you, and we follow you, and obviously followed you at. It was nice to see you have so much fun at Challenge Daytona.
Totally, yeah. And I guess if there's one message because I've been having a lot of fun on here, and I think I can say I like to have a lot of fun, but there's also a furious competitor inside me, and I want to win, and I want to go as fast as I can, and I think you can do both, or maybe you can especially do both. When you have fun, maybe you go faster.
Does your significant other tell me? This is kind of, we're in the bonus time. Got maybe a minute or so left. Do you have to do SAUs? Are you familiar with the phrase SAUs?
I'm not. No.
So in the off season, us old guys, we have to do spousal approval units.
Yeah, I probably need to do something like that.
Yeah. I mean, there's if you want to do like a 70.3, that might be paint the house, and if you want to do a 140.6, we're probably talking like a kitchen refurb or something. Like, what do you do for your significant other?
I mean, she's awesome. Her name's Amy. She is absolutely beyond supportive of me. And actually, no, I don't really have to do anything like that. But it's been really tough for us recently because the border was closed all year. So I couldn't get up there. She's been able to come down, but every time she comes down, she has to go back in quarantine for 2 weeks. So it's like a lot of the load's been on her, and she's been awesome. And I think her all she wants to do is be able to see me a bit more, and unfortunately, we're not able to make that happen too much right now.
Well, you have been fantastic, and yes, we knew, obviously the skill, the talent, the hard work is there. It's also nice to see the vulnerability. It's nice to see all that part too. And my guess is you're going to have a lot more fans, not because of you did this podcast, but you'll have no additional fans because of this. But based on who you are and the skill set you have, we will be following you this year, and wish you luck.
Well, yeah, thank you very much. And you can end it with me with a big, the 3 words. Are you ready?
Can't say it.
Yo, yo, yo.
Well, this was, we loved it. This is Sam Long, the big unit. And he just yo-yo-yoed his way out of this. And again, Sam, thanks so much for being our guest today on California Triathlon Soup.
Thank you, Tom, and thank you to all the listeners.